Hi, I'm Sabine Franco, also known as Sabine the Purpose Lawyer. I help create brand protection, protect businesses, and plan legacy so you can be safe as you pursue your purpose. Please remember that these videos are for information only, right? Please don't construe them as legal advice. Although I'm a lawyer, I am not your lawyer unless you hire me, okay? And so today we're going to be talking about trademarks. Did you know that a trademark can be the longest lasting, most valuable asset in your business? Yes, it can. Why? Because trademarks can last forever if you follow the rules and update your trademark. It can be forever, and that means it continues to appreciate in value and typically does not depreciate in value, although it can. But the idea is that you continue your business, your trademark continues to appreciate in value. Some of the biggest corporations out there that you know of, we're talking about Amazon, we're talking about Apple, Coca-Cola, all these companies, their trademarks account for 40 to 50% of their value, and sometimes even more. So that just goes to show you never know where your business is going to be. So you always want to consider protecting your brand as early as possible to secure that brand equity. All right, so we're going to talk about the trademark process. Why? This is the number one question that I get. What is the trademark process and how long does it take? So I'm going to walk you through that process a bit. So your trademark trademark process should start with a search, right? Keep in mind that filing a trademark is something that technically you can do on your own, but if you don't know what you're doing, there can be a lot of mistakes and bumps in the road and possibly denial, right? You cannot hire a non-lawyer to file your trademark, but you as a non-lawyer can do it yourself. So just keep that in mind. Why is that? Because filing a trademark is a legal action. And because it's a legal action, you're basically starting sort of like a lawsuit in a sense. It's not really called that or doesn't function like that, but technically that's what it is. So that's why they require for you to be represented by a lawyer, or you could do it yourself if you feel like you are, you know what you're doing, right? Or you have the right information. So the process is usually going to start with the search. The trademark office has a search system that can be they have a system that can be searched where you can see what marks have already been registered, what marks are pending. However, their system is not as comprehensive, so it's a little bit of a tedious process to really try different variations of your trademark to make sure that you're actually seeing everything that's there, right? So that search process should be done there. It should be done on common law, which means you're searching websites, you're searching social media, you're searching a whole bunch of different places to make sure that there are no conflicts, or that if there is, you understand the risk level of filing that trademark and whether or not it's going to, if there's a likelihood it's going to get approved or it's going to get denied. So at least you know what the risk level is. So that's what it is. It starts with the search process. After the search process, if all is well, comes the application process. So the application is, the application needs to be filled out with a whole bunch of information regarding your trademark. So you're going to need to know, one, what's the name, the correct spelling of the name, or if it's a design, all of the different features of the design needs to be detailed in that application. It needs to be broken down so that the trademark office can actually be able to check it against what already exists. Also within that application, you need to explain how you're using the mark and what you're using it for, right? So you're going to say, I'm using this mark for my coaching business, right? And I'm going to be coaching women on self-care or whatever the case is, right? And so you're going to explain that in great detail, how you're using the mark, and then what you're going to be using it on. So once you have all that information in, you'll of course put in your details, who's going to be the owner of the mark. Now, that particular question, don't take it lightly, because if you have a business, you may want to consider your business being the owner. If you do want to own it personally under your name, you want to consider the fact that that is something that if you got sued, or if you had a creditor or a debt that was exercised against you, now your trademark is something that you own of value. It is an asset. So if you own it under your name, it's vulnerable like everything else that you own. All All right, so just keep that in mind when you're thinking about who is going to be the owner of your mark. And there's also some strategies around that when you're working with an attorney who can guide you through making that decision. Okay, so once you get all that good information in your application, the other thing that you're going to want to make sure that you include is your specimen. In my previous video, I spoke about specimens sort of in detail of what type of things that you might be able to use as a specimen in order to submit and complete your trademark, right? So once all that information's together, you submit your application, you pay the fee for that application, and then we get to the part where we wait. We wait. At least 3 to 4 months for the trademark office to now assign it to an examiner. So once they assign it to an examiner, that's basically someone on their end, usually another lawyer, who is going to review that application and is going to say whether or not it meets the requirements, whether or not there is a conflict, whether or not they need more information, all of that good stuff. So they're gonna pretty much check it to see if it meets the trademarks office standards and if there's any reason why it would not be moving forward. Once you get that information, once it say all is well and the application moves forward, then it's going to go to publication. So what's publication? The trademark office has their what they call official gazette, and a lot of trademark attorneys like to call it the OG. And so what that is basically their newsletter that they put out every single month to put the public on notice. So they want everybody to know that all of these trademarks are getting ready to register, or they're getting ready to be approved for use. And so if you have any issue with it because it conflicts with your mark or something of the sort, then now is your time to basically speak up. And so that's the function of the official gazette, to basically let everybody know what's about to happen. That runs every 30 days. So your trademark application may need to wait for the next 30-day cycle. And once that runs for 30 days, you're pretty much on your way to registration if there is no opposition there. So I never like to say that it's done, until it's done. Like, it's not registered until it's registered, because things could always come up, right, on the trademark office's end. And so once that's done, you are looking at, potentially registration or approval. And so if there is a conflict, right, if the trademark office says, we think that this is confusing with another mark, or we think that the specimen that you provided us does not give us does not show us the proper use, or we don't think that your drawing is clear enough, or things like that. There's a whole host of office actions that can be issued against the application that you are submitting. And so those office actions is basically like the trademark office saying that there's a pause, or there's an issue, or there's something to be resolved here. And if that happens, that can prolong the application process. Typically it's going to be an 8 to 18 month process, right? But it can be longer depending on how many times you got to go back and forth, with the trademark office. And quite frankly, lately there's been a lot of pushback because they've made some changes in the law, and so it's a little bit more challenging than it used to be. Not that it can't be done, of course, but it's more challenging, like I said. So if that happens, it's going to prolong the period of time. But if not, you are registered and you basically have your trademark, right, at the end of that whole process. Now, once you have your trademark, there is some steps that you need to take. Remember, I said that it can last forever if you do the right thing. So what happens is, after 5 years, you need to basically file an update with the trademark office saying, hey, I've had my trademark, I'm using it, I've been using it this whole time, here's some proof of how I've been using it, right? That's after 5 years, between the 5th and 6th year. And then, again, 5 years later, you're going to say, hey, still using my mark, and I'm still using it in the way that I said that I would. And so that's gonna continue your mark some more. And then every 10 years after that, similar type of update needs to be done in order to maintain your trademark. So that is the trademark process. So if you need assistance understanding the trademark process, or if you need assistance with filing a trademark, we file trademarks nationally as well as international trademarks. So please feel free to reach out to us. Again, I am Sabine Franco. I help create brand ownership, protect businesses, and plan legacies so you can be safe as you pursue your purpose. Thank you. See you next time.